Let me open up Firefox. What's up, everybody? Just beginning my stream. Just showing you my page. I don't remember if it picks up my thing or it doesn't. It actually, that was the whole issue of me doing this too. Does it transfer over? It doesn't. There might be a way. I think I know how you can I think I might know a way how you do it. There you go. I think you should be able to hear it now. What's on my page? I'll check the stream right now. Should be coming up on my new. Let me just watch a news thing.
Here's a Smart Metals dashboard I want to walk you through. Let me show you what's on screen. This is the Smart Money Meter.
Yeah,
it pulls CFTC data of traders and shows you what institutional money, the managed money category, is positioned on both gold and silver. Right now, you can see the gauge sitting at 78 for gold.
And a Fox News alert, because starting now, the U.S. military will begin enforcing a full-scale blockade of all maritime traffic into and out of Iran as Navy minesweepers clear a path to open the Strait of Hormuz after high-stakes peace talks end without a deal. Welcome to a brand new hour of America's Newsroom. I'm Dana Perino.
Morning to you. I'm Bill Hemmer. Here we go. This is the hour. The fate of the 2-week ceasefire unclear as Iran refuses to give up on its nuclear program. The U.S. declaring a naval blockade against Iran after both sides walked away from the talks late on Saturday. The Strait of Hormuz is a key flashpoint as the president ramps up the pressure continuously on Tehran.
Their military is destroyed. Their whole Navy is underwater. Other nations are working so that Iran will not be able to sell oil.
Yeah.
And that will be very effective. But there are many boats heading toward our country straight. And ultimately, that'll be corrected.
And we have Fox.
Yep. Strait of Hormuz. It's like a video. I don't know, some crazy videos posting on my. But this is with me. I don't have my account connected, so it's showing me whatever. Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know if anybody's seen this.
Here's a shot of Capitol.
Look, Mika, I certainly hope we will. As you just mentioned, we're coming back, pushed back on that statement, pushed back on the Christian country, but a country of faith where we respect each other, that was rooted in freedom of worship, freedom of religion. It seems to me that Pete Hegseth and J.D. Vance and President Trump seem determined to secure their white Christian nationalist base and to push aside and to offend and to distance themselves from all the good people of our nation who want good things for our country and for each other. This has been a very dark chapter. And one of the things I've been struck by is the silence of so many of my colleagues on the other side. It was Martin Luther King who said the real tragedy is not the cruelty of the bad, but the silence of the good. And I'm hopeful we will hear some voices this week speaking up and saying our national leader, our president, should not be attacking one of the world's greatest religions, should not be putting himself in this in the space of my Lord and Savior.
Yeah, I guess it's all people been talking about the Pope. Yeah, this is very distasteful. I just made a little a video on my channel about it. Yeah, I don't know who's defending this. Here, sorry about that. Somebody's messaging me. Um, this is, sorry about that. I'm about to watch a video right now, but give me a second. Actually, let me check my thing. I'm gonna mute myself for a second. I'm gonna just check if my thing. I'm gonna go use the restroom. I'll be back, guys. I'm back. Here, let me do some more news. Let me check CNN. It looks a little bit laggy on my StreamYard stream. It looks a little bit laggy. I don't know why. Let's go. Yeah, a little bit laggy. A doctor, that's crazy. Now just looking at the titles of some of this MS Now stuff. It's crazy.
You've seen his ads.
26. That is Trump Jesus or Jesus Trump, unclear as to who or which, appearing to cure a man who is either dead or dying or maybe just sleeping, maybe sick, while a bunch of adoring white folks peer up at him. And we're going to do a full breakdown
crazy.
on this unbelievable piece of blasphemy in a little bit.
Yeah, very
first,
crazy.
Will, this is like the movie trope, record scratch, freeze frame. You're probably wondering how I wound up here. And the answer is that 46 minutes before he posted that, the president put out a giant attack on the head of the Catholic Church, the Holy Father, Pope Leo XV, or as I like to call him, Bobby White Sox from Chi-Town, my boy Robert Prevost. And this is what I won't read the whole thing, but Pope Leo is weak on crime and terrible for foreign policy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He then starts talking about COVID. Of course, he mentions his landslide victory in 2024 and the stock market, because why wouldn't he? And then talks about Jesus and how weak Leo is on crime and how he's bad for the Catholic Church. And also, he says that Leo would never have been elected Pope if it hadn't been for him, Donald Trump.
That's crazy.
Will, you are not of the Catholic persuasion. You're not a papist like me. So how does this all strike you?
Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. Okay. So JVL, every time I think that I have some extreme notion of what Donald Trump is or what he would do, he just goes and literally does it. This to literally post an attack on the Pope.
Yeah,
and then
that's crazy.
followed with the Jesus thing was just like, in case that wasn't offensive enough.
Yeah, very crazy. Just to attack the Pope. Yeah. Yeah, very insane. Let me actually change my name. How do I change my name again? Oh, yeah. Yeah, there you
go. So here's my impression. I mean, I read this insane tweet of his, and correct me if I'm wrong, JVL, it looks to me like Donald Trump thinks that he can mount a conventional political attack on the Pope, as though the Pope is another politician. So in this tweet, what he does is he tries to pit the Pope against the Catholic Church and other Catholics by saying, you're not standing up for the Catholics who couldn't do services during COVID. He smears him by calling him soft on crime. So we're going to pick some issues to attack you with and say that you're on the wrong side of some moral question, some political question. He says, I'm elected and you're not. Right? I have the landslide victory. You're attacking somebody who has I have the people. I have a mandate behind me. What mandate do you have?
Leo did win a landslide at the conclave. I mean, I just say that because it has to be a landslide. You can't win the conclave by just stringing together 270 electoral votes. That's not how it works.
Was it by more than 1.5%?
It was by a great deal more. I mean, I forget the exact percentage, but it has to be like 70% or something like that. 80%.
So, well, we know that a landslide, according to Trump, is winning by 1.5%. So therefore, Leo won by some super mega landslide.
Yeah. By the way, Trump is doing a press conference right now, and he's being asked about this. We're gonna get to all of that because I have it incoming to me live because it's amazing. I will. No, I'm not. I'm gonna make you guys wait. So Trump does see himself, I think, or he sees the Pope as just like the biggest influencer of them all, right? Like the Pope is just Joe Rogan on steroids. And I think that he also probably carries a vestigial, and the way that he thinks Time Magazine is really important because they do Times Man of the Year cover every year. He probably thinks the Pope is really important, and so would prefer to have the Pope glazing him rather than criticizing him.
Right, like his brother.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Skyscanner searches billions of prices from all our favorite travel sites in one place.
They call themselves the Consumer Attorneys of California, but they're not for consumers. They're funded
Yeah, this is
Donald Trump's mental decline is escalating. His delusions of grandeur are off the charts. In the middle of the night last night, he posts a photograph of himself as Jesus Christ. Pop this up. Here he is as Jesus with the American flag, eagles, all of this weird MAGA imagery. To me, I feel like I've seen this stuff for 10 years, but MAGA is starting to have a meltdown over this, surprisingly. Even Riley Gaines. Trump has lost Riley Gaines. And let me remind you, Riley Gaines is the swimmer that tied for 5th place and has now made a career out of this. Pop this up. Why? Seriously, I cannot understand why he'd post this. Is he looking for a response? Does he actually think this? Either way, two things are true. A little humility would serve him well. And number two, God shall not be mocked. And let me just say this, Riley, you don't understand why he would post this. You don't.
Yeah, God should not be mocked. I don't know why Trump does the things he does. Huh.
Shop the new arrivals by.
Oh no, it's only one ad. I'm crazy. It would have been.
President Trump right now referencing a post that he published on Truth Social, appearing to show the president as Jesus, an image that he now says he thought showed him as a doctor. CNN's Kevin Letak is live for us at the White House. Kevin, I'm not sure if we're going to show that image, but I'm not sure how you would see that person wearing robes with light emitting from his palms as a doctor necessarily.
I'm not sure either, Boris, but nonetheless, that is the president's explanation. He did confirm that he posted it, so we know that it wasn't.
Every time I see this image, I'm laughing more than insanity. I do look so red in the camera. It looks super red on StreamYard.
Some sort of errant mistake on the president's and a red before talked about it.
And had to do with Red Cross as a Red Cross worker there, which we support.
Does he think it's true? Yes, he thinks it's true. None of this is a surprise to any of us that have watched him from 2016. This is a man, Riley, who said, I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and my supporters would still support me. The triple Trumpers that have ran cover for this guy are all of a sudden coming out of the woodworks. They're so shocked by this. Who is this guy? Does he believe this? Yes, he believes it because you all have assisted him for.
Yeah, that's freaking crazy.
As a kid, Matt Mahan's mentor.
And so now they're reverting to desperate stuff here. So let me throw this up on the screen. This is in the Daily Beast. The self-proclaimed president of peace who started a war in the
Did they show the Pope thing? It's funny. Let me watch.
Boy, howdy, hooey. What an interesting evening. The troops above him with the golden lights. This thing looks like something out of fucking Silent Hill. This is a real post Trump made, by the way. Big breaking news. As I was making this video, he deleted the post and he just gave a little speech out of nowhere here. I guess this was such a huge deal. It called for his immediate attention and he was asked about it. And this is his response.
Mr. President, did you post that picture of yourself depicted as Jesus Christ?
Well, it wasn't depicted. It was me. I did post it, and I thought it was me as a doctor, and had to do with Red Cross as a Red Cross worker there, which we support. And only the fake news could come up with that one. So I just heard about it, and I said, how did they come up with that? It's supposed to be me as a doctor making people better, and I do make people better. I make people a lot better.
Oof. So that immediately throws a lot of the cope into the shitter from people that were still doing all they could to defend him, saying it must have been one of his staffers again going rogue, getting a little rambunctious, or no, this is actually a 5D chess move from Trump because he got into this, spat with the Pope. So it wasn't him depicted as Jesus Christ. It was just a little tomfoolery depicting himself as the Pope, not Jesus. And he immediately says, no, you guys are wrong on both those. In fact, I did post it, and I thought I was a doctor. That's what I thought, which no one was saying, because I don't know how anyone could look at that and think that that's a doctor being depicted there. Holy delusion. Is there any human being on the planet that buys that? Yeah, doctors, famously not in scrubs or anything, always in white robes, white and red robes, with glowing golden hands, healing people. They don't use medicine or anything. They use their hands to do that, glowing gold hands. That's what doctors in the Bible while being sworn in for some odd reason. Trump also actively talks about how he doesn't think he's going to heaven. He doesn't see any chance of him getting into heaven. This is what he says. And he even shills Hawks $60 Bibles that he has signed. And the Bibles range from $60 up to $1,000 because he puts his signature on the Bible. He makes these Bibles for $3 in China and then sells them to the Americans here for $60 to $1,000. Like, I can't believe anyone needed to be shaken awake here that Trump uses the faith as a means of profiting for himself and a means of trying to get people to his side and rally behind his cause. And what's crazy is this comes only 8 days after I just made a video talking about his spiritual advisor, Paula White Cain. How she is also a fraud. She is a televangelist who solely uses Christianity as a means of enriching herself.
Because I'm telling you, there's an anointing of release right now. I want $100,000 to come in. I want $100,000. There are 10 people that could give $10,000. There's 100 people that could give $1,000. Get a check, make it payable to Paula White Ministry. There are people that are watching right now. If you say, I don't have it, give $100. Bring up a sacrificial seed. This isn't for me. This is about kids that will die without you being obedient. This is about kids who are going to be minstrels and instruments.
And I believe that when you honor God on Passover, starting on April
This is a follow-up to our previous video about Donald Trump posting a blasphemous image depicting himself as Jesus Christ, which he was ultimately forced to delete after facing widespread and intense MAGA backlash. The same damn day, he also kicked another hornet's nest by openly attacking the Pope in an unhinged meltdown on Truth Social and then doubling down on it on camera. And the Pope has responded saying that he doesn't fear Donald Trump or the Trump administration and will continue to speak the gospel as he sees it. And we have to talk about this as well as the backlash that some Catholic conservatives and MAGA Catholics are having in response to this. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. As Mediaite notes, quote, I have no fear. Pope Leo hits back after Trump's wild tirade, calling him weak. Okay, so the Pope has responded. But before we play this image of the Pope, I want you to see what Trump posted on Truth Social. Breaking. In a disgusting anti-Catholic rant, U.S. President attacks the Pope in new unhinged Truth Social post. This man is becoming demonically possessed. Here we go. Pope Leo is weak on crime and terrible for foreign policy. He talks about fear of the Trump administration, but doesn't mention the fear that the Catholic Church and all other Christian organizations had during COVID when they were arresting priests, ministers, and everybody else for holding church services, even when going outside, and being 10 even 20 feet apart. I like his brother Lewis much better than I like him, because Lewis is all MAGA. Now, again, obviously, Trump would prefer a MAGA cultist to somebody who criticizes him, but why would you just announce it? I don't like the Pope because it's all about Christ and not enough about MAGA. Weird. He gets it, and Leo doesn't. I don't want a Pope who thinks it's okay for Iran to have a nuclear weapon. I don't know where the Pope said that, but let's continue. I don't want a Pope who thinks it's terrible that America attacked Venezuela, a country that was sending massive amounts of drugs into the United States. Now, remember, Trump personally pardoned a convicted drug trafficker in the form of the conservative ex-Honduran president. Not only was he credibly accused, he was successfully convicted in an American court, and Trump granted him a pardon. So Trump obviously doesn't give a damn about drug trafficking. And even worse, emptying their prisons, including murderers, drug dealers, and killers into our country. And I don't want a Pope who criticizes the president of the United States because I'm doing exactly what I was elected in a landslide to do. Setting, number one, obviously, it was not a landslide. He's just lying. Setting record low numbers in crime. There was already record low numbers in crime under the Biden administration, and crime spiked at the end of the first Trump administration. So he's actually to blame for the spike in crime, and Biden gets the credit for reducing it. And creating the greatest stock market in history. He has not created the greatest stock market in history. As a matter of fact, his disastrous tariff and trade wars and war on Iran is actually punishing the stock market every other day. Leo should be thankful because, as everybody knows, he was a shocking surprise. He wasn't on any list to be Pope and was only put there by the church because he was an American, and they thought that would be the best way to deal with President Donald J. Trump. Again, no evidence that that's the case, and it's kind of weird that Trump is taking credit for that, but commensurate with his character. If I wasn't in the White House, Leo wouldn't be in the Vatican. Again, no evidence of that. Unfortunately, Leo's weak on crime, weak on nuclear weapons, does not sit well with me, nor does the fact that he meets with Obama sympathizers like David Axelrod, a loser from the left, who's one of those who wanted churchgoers and clerics to be arrested. Leo should get his act together as Pope, use common sense, stop catering to the radical left, and focus on being a great Pope, not a politician. It's hurting him very badly, and more importantly, it's hurting the Catholic Church. Donald Trump.
Join Planet Fitness for 1 cent down, $15 a month. No commitment. Deal extended to April 6th.
Sorry about that. I don't have no YouTube Premium. So, yeah, but no, just everything I agree with there. Freaking Trump. praise at somebody who's as somebody who has Christian values but doesn't really, you know. Yeah, I don't think MAGA doesn't even care about Christian values or nothing. So yeah, it's very sad what happened. I don't know. We skip this.
Okay. Then he doubles down on it on camera. So let me pull this up. He was asked about it.
I don't think he's doing a very good job. He likes crime, I guess. He hit us thick of it. He's worried about fear. What about the fear when the ministers and the priests and all of those great people that were arrested during COVID, and in many cases they're outside 10 feet apart and they were arrested. So we don't like it. We don't like a pope that's going to say that it's okay to have a nuclear weapon. We don't want a pope that says crime is okay in our cities. I don't like it. I'm not a big fan of Pope Leo. He's a very liberal person, and he's a man that doesn't believe in stopping crime. He's a man that doesn't think that we should be going with a country that wants a nuclear weapon so they can blow up the world. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, so again, I wouldn't say that Pope Leo is, again, pro-crime.
The war in Iran is that
like a
posted an image of himself.
Yikes.
I can't even look at it. I'm just so there's no answer to the question I'm supposed to ask. But what are your thoughts?
25th Amendment does
that down, please.
Yeah, it's in the Christian faith. This is considered blasphemy. It's sees because this happened. Understand people who are practicing in their faith. He clearly.
I do think he claims to be a person of faith. Remember, he sells Bibles. That help you if you're praying.
Bibles, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Christian man of faith, yeah. Yeah, man of faith, my freaking. I don't know. This is like. I don't know what this guy.
Did you post that picture of yourself depicted as Jesus
Let me
Christ?
see.
It wasn't depicted. I did post it, and I thought it was me as a doctor.
You don't care?
It's a distraction. It's a distraction. I just don't care.
As a
What I
Catholic,
care
you
is that
don't
the
care?
intersection-
Galatians 6:7 says, God will not be mocked.
The remedy is not 25th Amendment. The remedy is Congress.
Pope Leo's boss got executed and came back from the dead 3 days later. He's not afraid of a Truth Social post.
We have a one-man rule, and the one man happens to be crazy.
You block my ships and I'll block yours. That's the upshot of the US president's latest Iran war gambit. A US naval blockade of the Strait of Hormuz is now in force.
From the United States, led by J.D. Vance, a skeptic of this war and a skeptic of forever wars. So for him to stand alongside the parliamentary speaker, who isn't just any parliamentary speaker, he is perhaps one of the most senior members now of the Iranian regime since they took out the supreme leader and various other top leaders. That was quite an image. And so while the talks haven't necessarily gone anywhere at this point, that image that we saw is historic.
Ultimately, though, if this all ends with the regime remaining in place, albeit a post of him.
That's the sound of
Oh
America.
man, that's what I get for not having YouTube Premium. Sorry about that. One day with YouTube Premium, I ain't gonna be paying for that bullshit. My bad. No disrespect to YouTube, because I am on their platform, but I'm not gonna pay for YouTube Premium.
Jesus Christ, this image, which he posted earlier. He very rarely deletes anything. What is interesting to me is I urged him to delete the post in which he was raging about ending civilization, which would have involved killing all 90 million Iranians. And I also didn't like and I urged him to delete the Easter Sunday message in which he was talking in the most foul-mouthed way about it all and saying praise be to Allah. None of this is helping anything from what I can look at.
Yeah, usually we have a political issue. Israel and the United States together have created a disaster in the Middle East. Israel has created a genocide. Israel and the United States together have created this war of whim in Iran that has killed thousands, but has already begun to devastate the entire world. But we also have clearly a clinical condition. We have an individual mental incapacity. The psychiatrists and psychologists that look at this call it the dark triad, meaning that the man is narcissistic, Machiavellian, in other words, completely untrustworthy in every way, and psychopathic, meaning that killing other people does not have any concern for either of these people. So these are both dark triad personalities. Many people are saying, Piers, that Trump is also showing symptoms of frontotemporal dementia as well. In other words, that this personality has always been there, but the loss of impulse control has taken over, perhaps because of dementia added to this. We have a very serious issue. There's never been a president in this
incapacity. It's very dangerous, but I just want to emphasize on top of this is a collapse of our governmental processes. There are no consultations with Congress. Congress, for all intents and purposes, doesn't exist. The National Security Council, for all intents and purposes, does not exist. The intelligence agencies, for all intents and purposes, do not exist. They advised against this. So we have a one-man rule, and the one man happens to be crazy.
I mean, there will be some who listen to you, Professor Sachs, and that you listen to your damning critique of Trump and Netanyahu. I call them psychopathic and delusional, as you did in an interview at the weekend. But then you went on to say that only Vladimir Putin, Narendra Modi, and Xi Jinping can stop Trump and Israel with their policies at the moment. And they'll say, well, hang on. You talk about delusional, psychopathic, and wanting to kill everyone. What about Vladimir Putin? Isn't that exactly the way that he's portrayed himself in recent years?
No, I think the situation is completely different. I'm talking of a psychological assessment of Trump. One can discuss, as we have done at length, and I'm delighted that we've done so, how we got into this open conflict with Russia after all.
Yeah, this seems like some like Russian propaganda. I'm gonna move on. That looks like some Russian propaganda. Nah, I'm not gonna watch some Hassan. I think I might have to go do something. I'm gonna go. I have to go. I might end the stream because I'm gonna go do something. I'm gonna go out. So, I'm gonna end the stream. Here's everybody. I'm gonna end the stream. Everyone, take care. I'm gonna end the stream. Yeah, I just have to go do something. So, here's everyone. Everyone have a nice day. Here's news and politics. Maybe some Catholic stuff because I've been talking about it. So, ending the stream. Cheers.